reach for the needle nose pliers all the time. They're extremely handy, compact, and very capable. So the question is a $7 pair of needle nose pliers just as good as the pair that costs 7 times as much? Well, let's find out. In the first test, we'll see which pliers offer the best gripping strength. Then we'll see which pliers perform the best cutting through a nail. Then we'll compare the strength and durability of the pliers in a twist test. At a price of only $7, the least expensive brand that we'll be testing is made by Performance Tool. All the pliers that we'll be testing are 8 inches in length except for the Vampliers, which are 7.5 inches. Drop forged hardened alloy steel. Precision machine jaws. Ergonomic cushion grip handles for comfort and control. There's a small amount of handle wobble with the Performance Tool pliers. The Performance Tool brand is made in China. The Performance Tool pliers weigh 215 grams. Let's first test the gripping strength of the pliers using this test jig I put together. After I place the metal roofing screw inside the jaws of the pliers, I'll adjust a handle clamp bracket spacing to right at 2 inches. At right at 2 inches, the clamps will apply very close to 100 pounds of squeezing force. I'll be using an electronic torque adapter to measure the grip. And a Performance Tool pliers lost grip on the screw at 5 inch-pounds. Measuring wear resistance is highly subjective, but the screw actually did a small amount of damage to the pliers. At a price of $11, the second least expensive brand that we'll be testing is made by Kobalt. High leverage design, drop forged chrome nickel steel, hardened cutting edge, hardened precision machine cutting jaws for enhanced grip and durability. We're going to test that. The Kobalt brand is made in China. There's a small amount of handle wobble with the Kobalt, but definitely much better than the Performance Tool. The Kobalt pliers are 52 grams heavier than the Performance Tool pliers at 277 grams. And the Kobalt pliers perform quite a bit better than the Performance Tool pliers, finally losing grip at 8 inch-pounds. The Kobalt pliers also experience less wear than the Performance Tool brand. At a price of $13 is this Stanley Fatmax brand. 20 times the cutting life, we're going to test that. 25% less cutting effort, we're going to test that too. Machine teeth for gripping and twisting wire. Tri-material cushion grips for comfort. Max edge blades with titanium nitride. The Stanley brand is made in the Czech Republic. The handle is extremely stiff on the Stanley Fatmax, but there's definitely no handle wobble. The Stanley Fatmax pliers are 20 grams lighter than the Kobalt pliers at 257 grams. The Stanley Fatmax lost grip at 7 inch-pounds to move into second place behind the Kobalt Tool pliers. The Stanley Fatmax experienced the least amount of wear yet with just a very small amount of damage to the teeth. Also at a price of $13, the same price as the Stanley Fatmax, is this Craftsman brand. Multi-zone bi-material grips for comfort and control. Induction hardened cutting edges stay sharper longer. We're going to test that. Drop forged steel for strength and durability. The Craftsman brand moves freely without handle wobble. The Craftsman pliers are made in China. The Craftsman pliers weigh 262 grams. And the Craftsman pliers perform very well and they move into a first place tie with the Kobalt brand at 8 inch-pounds. The Craftsman pliers also experienced about the same amount of damage as the Kobalt. At a price of $15 or just $2 more than the Stanley and the Craftsman is this Irwin brand. High carbon alloy steel for superior performance. Laser heat treated cutting edges last longer. 2-zone comfort grips are contoured for optimal cushion and control. The handles on the Irwin are very stiff, but there's no handle wobble. The Irwin brand is made in Taiwan. The Irwin pliers are the heaviest yet at 299 grams. Unlike the previous brand, the Irwin has crosshatch teeth and they lost grip at 7 inch-pounds. The amount of damage to the Irwin is about the same as the Craftsman. At a price of $20 is this DeWalt brand. Grip armor coating helps prevent vinyl grips from peeling off. Crosshatch tooth design for gripping in multiple directions. Induction hardened cutting edges for strength and durability. The handles on the DeWalt are very stiff, but there's no handle wobble. The DeWalt pliers are made in China. The DeWalt pliers are nearly as heavy as the Irwins at 296 grams. The DeWalt pliers also have a crosshatch tooth design and they lost grip at only 6 inch-pounds. The damage to the DeWalt is about the same as the Irwin pliers. At a price of $21 is this Channellock brand. Forged high carbon steel for ultimate strength. Laser heat treated cutting edges. Crosshatch teeth for tighter grip. There's no handle wobble with the Channellocks. The Channellock brand is 100% made in USA. And the Channellock pliers weigh 226 grams. And the Channellock pliers move into a 3-way tie for first place with the Kobalt and the Craftsman at 8 inch-pounds. The crosshatch teeth on the Channellocks experience slightly more damage compared to most of the other brands. At a price of $24 is this Milwaukee brand. Notch tooth allows you to keep a solid grip on fasteners. Rubberized handle has notches on board for easier gripping. There's no handle wobble with the Milwaukee, but the handles do not move freely. The Milwaukee brand is made in Vietnam. The Milwaukee pliers weigh 238 grams. And the Milwaukee let go at 6 inch-pounds, the same as the DeWalt pliers. The Milwaukee pliers experienced about the same amount of damage as the DeWalt. At a price of $25 is this Southwire brand. Drop forged CRV steel. Fire edge induction hardened blades. Fire rivet technology for smooth opening. There's no handle wobble with the Southwire brand, but the handles are a little bit stiff. The Southwire pliers are made in China. The Southwire pliers weigh 274 grams. The Southwire pliers perform very well at 8 inch-pounds, creating a 4-way tie with Kobalt, Craftsman, and Channellock. At a price of $28 is this Knipex brand. Serrated jaws for great grip. Resilient precision tips snap back into place even after being twisted. Cutting edges are induction hardened to approximately 61 HRC. There's no handle wobble with the Knipex and the handles move nice and freely. Smooth and strong rivet for long life. The Knipex pliers are made in Germany. The Knipex are the lightest yet at only 199 grams. The Knipex brand has shorter handles and a longer nose than the other pliers, and that really hurt the Knipex, losing grip at only 4 inch-pounds. However, the Knipex held up really well with very little wear. At a price of $29 is this Klein Tools brand. Forged steel for maximum durability. Induction hardened cutting knives for long life. Heavy duty design for easier, more comfortable cutting. The Klein Tools brand moves nice and freely and there's no handle wobble. The Klein Tools pliers are made in USA. The Klein Tools pliers weigh 265 grams. Unlike the other brands, the Klein Tool pliers have a diagonal tooth pattern and they lost grip at 6 inch-pounds. The teeth on the Klein Tools pliers held up about the same as the Milwaukee. At a price of $33 is this Wiha brand. Chrome finish for long-lasting corrosion protection. Designed with insulated, ergonomic, soft grip handles for maximum power and comfort. Induction hardened jaws and cutters to 64 HRC. The handles move nice and freely, but there is a small amount of handle wobble. The Wiha pliers are made in Vietnam. The Wiha pliers are pretty light at 225 grams. Just like the Klein Tool pliers, the Wiha also has a diagonal tooth pattern and they lost grip at 4 inch-pounds. The teeth on the Wiha held up really well with only minor damage. At a price of $40 is this Vampire Tools brand. Multi-purpose pliers for removing stuck screws. Patented screw remover. Vertical serrations bite a screw head without slippage. T-shaped forged handles prevent the grip covers from twisting or slipping off. There's no handle wobble with the Vampliers and the handles move nice and freely. The Vampire Tool pliers are made in Japan. The Vampliers are the lightest yet at 177 grams. And the Vampliers move into the lead at 9 inch-pounds. The Vampliers experience less damage than most of the other brands. And the most expensive pliers that we'll be testing at $44 is made by Fujiya. There's no handle wobble with the Fujiya and they move nice and freely. The Fujiya pliers are made in Japan. The Fujiya pliers weigh 224 grams. The Fujiya pliers perform slightly better than the Wiha brand at 5 inch-pounds. The teeth held up really well with only minor damage. So the Vampliers came out on top at 9 inch-pounds, but the Kobalt, Craftsman, Channellocks, and Southwire performed nearly as well at 8 inch-pounds. While wear resistance is highly subjective, the Stanley Fatmax, Knipex, Wiha, Vampliers, and the Fujiya pliers experienced the least amount of wear. However, other than the Vampliers, the brands with the least amount of wear also performed below average. Let's see how the pliers perform cutting through a 6-penny nail, beginning with the Performance Tool brand. Once the pliers are clamped onto the holder, I'll slide the front piece with the 2 bolts towards the pliers. The 2 bolts will hold the nail in place against the cutters to allow for maximum leverage. The hydraulic press will be applying force to the very end of the handle. The Performance Tool pliers needed 68 pounds of squeezing force to cut through the 6-penny nail. The Kobalt Tool pliers performed quite a bit better than the Performance Tool pliers, cutting through the nail at only 47 pounds. Very impressive. The Stanley Fatmax performed nearly as well as the Kobalt pliers at 54 pounds. The Craftsman pliers really struggled with the 6-penny nail, finally making the cut at 84 pounds. The Irwin pliers made the cut at 54 pounds and move into a 2-way tie for second place with the Stanley Fatmax. The DeWalt pliers performed nearly the same as the Irwins at 56 pounds. The Channellocks performed the same as the DeWalt pliers, making the cut at 56 pounds. The Milwaukee pliers move into second place at 50 pounds. The Southwire pliers needed 64 pounds of force to cut through the nail. The short handles on the Knipex really hurt the pliers, 70 pounds to make the cut. The Klein Tool pliers performed very well, moving into second place at 49 pounds. The Wiha pliers made the cut at 55 pounds, which is slightly better than average. And the Vampliers, with slightly shorter handles compared to the competition, made the cut at 61 pounds. The Fujiya pliers performed very well, making the cut at 53 pounds. So the very affordable Kobalt pliers cut through the 6-penny nail at 47 pounds, but Klein Tools performed nearly as well at 49. Milwaukee finished in third at 50 pounds, Fujiya 53, Stanley Fatmax and Irwin 54 pounds. Let's test the pliers again for grip, this time with the screw oriented perpendicular to the pliers, beginning with the Performance Tool brand. And the Performance Tool brand lost grip at 5 inch-pounds, the same as the first test. Once again, the Kobalt performed very well, finally losing grip at 7 inch-pounds. And the Stanley Fatmax performed very well at 8 inch-pounds and moves into first place. The Craftsman performed the same as the Kobalt at 7 inch-pounds before losing grip. The Irwin pliers lost grip at 5 inch-pounds, the same as the Performance Tool brand. The DeWalt pliers performed slightly better than the Irwin pliers at 6 inch-pounds. The Channellocks performed the same as the Irwin, losing grip at 5 inch-pounds. Once again, the Milwaukee performed the same as the DeWalt pliers, losing grip at 6 inch-pounds. The Southwire pliers lost grip at 7 inch-pounds, the same as the Kobalt and the Craftsman. Once again, the Knipex struggled and lost grip at 4 inch-pounds, the same as the first test. The Klein Tools performed well at 7 inch-pounds before losing grip on the screw. The Wiha with the diagonal teeth lost grip at 5 inch-pounds. And the Vampliers move into first place with a very impressive 11 inch-pounds. And the Fujiya pliers perform the same as several other top brands, losing grip at 7 inch-pounds. So once again, the Vampliers came out on top, this time making it to 11 inch-pounds. The Stanley Fatmax also performed very well at 8 inch-pounds. The Kobalt, Craftsman, Southwire, Klein tools, and the Fujiya tied for third at 7 inch-pounds. Most of the pliers made fairly easy work of the 6-penny nail. So let's see how they performed cutting through a 16-penny nail, beginning with the Performance Tool brand. And a Performance Tool brand cut through the 16-penny nail at 215 pounds. And the Kobalt tool pliers needed 220 pounds of downward force to make the cut. And the Stanley Fatmax performed very well, making the cut at 171 pounds to move into the lead. The Craftsman also performed well at 206 pounds and moves into second place behind the Stanley Fatmax. The Irwin pliers performed even better than the Craftsman, making the cut at 197 pounds. The DeWalt pliers performed almost as well as the Irwin pliers at 199 pounds. And the Channellocks performed the best yet, making the cut at only 136 pounds. Very impressive. The Milwaukee pliers performed very well at 180 pounds and moves into third place behind the Stanley Fatmax pliers. And the Southwire pliers performed fairly well, making the cut at 194 pounds to move into fourth place. And the Knipex needed quite a bit of squeezing force to finally make the cut at 255 pounds. The Klein Tools pliers performed very well, taking the fourth place position from the Southwire at 188 pounds. The Wiha brand really struggled, finally making the cut at 265 pounds. And the Vampliers with slightly shorter handles than the competition struggled to make the cut at 262 pounds. And the Fujiya did a pretty good job, making the cut at 203 pounds. So the Channellocks performed by far the best at 136 pounds, and the Stanley Fatmax finished in second at 171. The Milwaukee performed well at 180 pounds, Klein Tools 188, Southwire 194, and Irwin 197 pounds. Screws are much harder than nails, so let's see if the pliers can survive cutting through a deck screw, beginning with the Performance Tool pliers. And the Performance Tool pliers outlasted the exterior screw, making the cut at 270 pounds. However, the screw did cause some damage to the cutting knives. The Kobalt continues to impress, making the cut at only 230 pounds, or just 10 pounds more than cutting through a nail. The cutting knives held up really well with only a small amount of damage. And the Stanley Fatmax performed nearly as well as the Kobalt pliers at 244 pounds and moves into second place. However, the knives on the Stanley Fatmax did experience a little bit more damage than the Kobalt cutting knives. The hardness of the screw really put the Craftsman cutting knives to the test, finally making the cut at 282 pounds. The cutting knives are now pretty flat and experience quite a bit of damage. And the Irwin pliers move into the lead, making the cut at only 224 pounds. However, the cutting knives on the Irwin did experience quite a bit of damage. The exterior screw really put the DeWalt pliers to the test, finally making the cut at 265 pounds. The cutting knives on the DeWalt lost their pointed edge from cutting through the screw. The Channellocks made very easy work of the screw and moves into second place at only 224 pounds. The cutters held up really well and looked nearly as good as new. And the Milwaukee pliers continued to impress and perform nearly as well as the Channellocks at 235 pounds. The cutting knives held up really well with only minor damage. And the Southwire pliers move into first place, making the cut at only 200 pounds. And the cutting knives on the Southwire look nearly as good as new. And the Knipex pliers really struggled to make the cut, finally cutting through the screw at 350 pounds. The cutters on the Knipex did experience a moderate amount of damage. The Klein Tools performed fairly well, cutting through the exterior screw at 240 pounds. The cutting knives on the Klein Tool pliers held up really well with only minor damage. Just like the Knipex pliers, the Wiha brand really struggled to make the cut, finally cutting through the screw at 355 pounds. However, the cutting knives did hold up really well with only minor damage. And the half-inch shorter handles really hurt the performance of the Vampliers, finally making the cut at 319 pounds. However, the cutting knives held up really well and looked nearly as good as new. The Fujiya pliers performed slightly better than average, cutting through the exterior screw at 255 pounds. The cutting knives held up really well and looked nearly as good as new. If you're looking for pliers that can cut through really hard materials, the Southwire came in on top at 200 pounds, Irwin and Channellocks 224, Kobalt 230, Milwaukee 235, and Klein Tools 240 pounds. Sometimes long-nose pliers are used to apply a lot of twisting force, and the pliers are subject to damage when that occurs. To test the strength of the pliers, I drilled 2 holes in a bolt. So let's insert the nose of the pliers into the 2 holes and then apply 120 inch-pounds of twisting force to see how the pliers hold up. Unfortunately, the Performance Tool pliers experienced quite a bit of damage from the twisting force. And the twist test is definitely an extreme test, but the Kobalt pliers didn't even seem to notice. No visible damage to the Kobalt pliers. And the Stanley Fatmax made it to 120 inch-pounds of twisting, but they remained twisted after the test. Unfortunately, one of the jaws on the pliers broke. The Craftsman pliers flex quite a bit, but they snap right back into place after the test. No permanent bending or visible damage to the Craftsman pliers. The Irwin pliers seem more robust than most of the other brands and didn't twist too much before reaching 120 inch-pounds. No visible damage to the Irwin pliers. Just like the Irwin pliers, the DeWalt pliers easily withstood the torque and experienced less flexion than most of the other brands. No visible damage to the DeWalt pliers. The Channellock brand performed very well in several of the other tests, but they're definitely not set up for this type of grip and twist motion. There's quite a bit of damage to the nose of the pliers. The Milwaukee pliers experienced more flexion than the Irwin and the DeWalt pliers. Unfortunately, the pliers are now bent. The Southwire pliers are pretty robust and they didn't twist nearly as much as some of the other brands during the test. Unfortunately, they did experience a small amount of bending and twisting. At 199 grams of weight, the Knipex aren't nearly as robust as most of the other brands, and the nose of the pliers is badly bent. And the Klein tools are pretty robust at 265 grams, and they're definitely built to handle the grip and twist motion. No damage to the Klein tool pliers. And the Wiha pliers are lighter than average at 225 grams and experience quite a bit of damage from the test. The Vampliers are the lightest of all the pliers at only 177 grams, and the jaws on the Vampliers are now bent. The Fujiya pliers experienced quite a bit of flexion during the test. Unfortunately, the nose of the pliers is now bent. So if you're looking for a set of long-nosed pliers that are up to the toughest grip and twist jobs, the only pliers that didn't experience damage include the Kobalt, Craftsman, Irwin, DeWalt, and the Klein tool pliers. It's really hard to argue that the Kobalt didn't win this showdown when you consider the very affordable price of just $11 and the very impressive performance. The Irwin is also very affordable and performed very well. If price is not a factor, I really like the Klein tools pliers. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested. So if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care and look forward to next time.